Okay, so our next technique is going to be about jazz voicings, basically like adding other notes to the chords we already have to make them a bit richer and more complex and give them more color. And we're going to do that by considering the chord scales that these chords that we originally had are born from. So if you don't understand like chord scales or modes really well, I really recommend you check out our tutorial on Tessitura Pro and just get a good idea of what modes and chord scales are before we go any further with this technique. Having said that, let's talk about our map and these chords and their functions within the map. So basically, every chord on our map has a blueprint. That chord comes from somewhere. It comes from a certain chord scale, and that chord scale that it comes from is relative to its function on the map. Meaning this, so if I'm on the C chord, if I'm on 1, I'm using Ionian. I'm just using the C scale, all right? And if I'm on the 2, I'm using Dorian, all right? And if I'm on 5, I'm using Mixolydian, all right? And any of the notes in any of those scales that I just mentioned can be used to add color to the chord or the triad, all right? So when we had F, G, C, we were just dealing with 3-note chords. We were just dealing with triads. So what Mapping Tonal Harmony will do once I click on this jazz button down here is revoice all the chords using other notes in the scales or adding them. And it's going to do it automatically, and it's going to use the most smooth voice leading that it can, and it's going to contextualize where the chord is and where it's going to figure out what's voicing it's going to use. It's going to do all the work for you. And how those chords are voiced are all down here in this history. So my most recent chord that I played and how it's voiced is right here, bass clef, treble clef. And then I go here. So now that's what our 4-5-1 sounds like with the jazz voicings on, or 2-5-1. It's a bit better. C, there we go. So if I play a 2-5-1, down here you'll see the most recent 3 chords that I played and how they were voiced. And Mapping Tonal Harmony has already figured out how to voice those chords based on those chords' functions within the map and the chord scales that they come from. So up here in the upper margin of the app, you're gonna see everything we need to know about the chord that you're playing, its function within the map, and the chord scale that it comes from. The white is the classical notation, and underneath it, the yellow is the jazz notation. And since we have our jazz voicings turned on, that's what we're gonna reference for our purposes right now. So when I play C, it's a 1 major 7 chord. So you see C major 7, the optional 9. Like I said, sometimes that 9 will be there, sometimes it won't. It depends on where you're coming from and going to, and the chord's function within the map. Mapping Tonal Harmony figures that out for you though. When I go to the 2, the D minor 7, you see right here, 2 minor 7, and the chord is D minor 7, 9, and it's from a Dorian mode. It's from a Dorian chord scale, all right? And then I go to the 5-7 chord, 5-7, G7, 9, 13, that's Mixolydian. All right, and then back to the 1, Ionian. So Mapping Tonal Harmony is telling you all the chord scales that the chords are born from. It's telling you the function of that chord relative to the map and your chord progression. All right, with all that, you can figure out your own voicings if you want, or you can just go with what Mapping Tonal Harmony says. It's up to you.